और लग के कर दिखाने में, मान लेने में कि जिंदगी ऐसे ही कटेगी, और सुबह 4 बजे उठ के सोचने में कि अभी तो बस शुरुआत है। किसी मैगजीन को हाथ में लेने में और उसी मैगजीन के कवर पेज पे होने में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वीआईपी सीट में और उसकी पिछली सीट में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वो जिसका मैदान ही खुला आसमान है, वही कल जमीन पर तो था। पूछोगे तो बताएगा वो पंछी कि एक दायरे में सिमटने में और पूरी दुनिया को दायरा बनाने में बस इतना सा फर्क है। इतना कितना है? इतना है या इतना है? जो नापेगा वो जाने कि जहां धरती और आसमान मिलते हैं, नानकपुर से दूर, अगर मगर शायद वहां भी दोनों में फर्क बस इतना सा है। धरती और सातवें आसमान में फर्क बस इतना सा है। ये एक अंतर प्रेरणा है। ये हमारी, आपकी, हम सब की अंतर प्रेरणा है। एक कदम, एक छलांग, एक बाजी, एक गहरी सांस और एक ललकार खुली हवाओं में कि हाँ, मैं बना हूं उन फिजाओं के लिए, कि हाँ, मैं बना हूं उन ऊंचाइयों के लिए जो ऊंची तो बहुत है पर नामुमकिन भी नहीं, क्योंकि मुमकिन और नामुमकिन में बस इतना सा फर्क, धूप छांव में फर्क बस इतना सा। तो बस चलिए फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया के साथ ये फर्क मिटा फ्रेंचाइज।
So, very good evening, friends. So this is a special webinar hosted by Franchise India Group and Francop. In this webinar, we have today Ms. Sonia Chaudhary. So she is the managing director at Franchise India, and she has been working in franchise industry for almost 20 years, and she has worked with around 20,000 different brands, starting from like um, uh, developing the foundation of these brands and up to the large scale recruitment of the franchisee partners. And she has worked with like more than 1,500 professionals in this industry. And 90% of the Indian market, franchise, especially network market, is developed by Franchise India. And at large scale, Sonia Chaudhary is already involved in these kind of project execution and development. We also have Mr. Gaurav Bharia. He doesn't require any introduction because he is the father of franchise industry in India, and he is known as a franchise guru not only in India, across the globe. And he has been working with international brands, domestic brands, so he is known as an institution for franchise industry. So basically, he has worked with more than 20,000 companies across the globe, and he has consulted uh, small size organizations, medium sized organizations to the large enterprises, even registered corporate organizations. So in this webinar today, we would like to discuss uh, uh, how basically the brands or companies, they can utilize franchise tool to scale up their businesses, and what kind of readiness that you require to develop, what kind of capabilities you need to have to develop to franchise your business model. Before getting into franchise, what are the key criteria that you should be developing in terms of capabilities to scale your business? So now, before starting the formal presentation to take you through these kind of preparedness and readiness that you should be doing, and to start your franchising, I would like to invite Sonia Chaudhary to just give us a little bit of idea about Franchise India Group and the capabilities that we bring for our clients and partners to develop their franchisee networks in India and across the globe. So Sonia ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much, Ashok. And friends, a very good evening to all of you. I thank you all for joining on this webinar today. And along with me and Ashok, we also have Ram Krishnan and Isha Minhas. In fact, I'm sure a lot of you who have joined in today, you're in touch with both of them. They are part of our corporate team based out of Delhi headquarters, who would also be working post the webinar with each one of you. And just to set a perspective, I like to maybe start with giving a little background about our company and also what is that we're going to cover in the webinar today. And equally, it is also important because this would be about 40 minutes odd webinar. We'd also like to know and understand a little bit about your businesses, at what stage these businesses are. And also, if you're already franchising, maybe we can know more about the business at large, what cities that you come from. And I think this basic information would help us understand and we can get started. And maybe we can also draw some references when we do this presentation based on the industry and the stage of the business that you're in. So going back, friends, a very good evening once again to all of you. This is a webinar, which is a scale webinar. And in fact, this is the initiative which has been taken up by Franchise India Group and also its group companies, which includes FranCorp, which is a consulting arm of Franchise India, and also Fran Global, which is our international market entry arm, which is present in about 10 countries across the globe. Because every week when we do this webinar, we also have a lot of companies who join us from other countries, including Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Middle East, UAE, where we have our presence. So I'll be happy to know more about your business. If you can mention the country, the brand, your website, a little bit about your business, whether you're currently into franchising, we'll be able to maybe read that out. And the idea is, we pass our learning to all of you, wherein you as a business owner can de-risk the business. And overall, our group creates a very strong value proposition for entire stakeholders, and that's what we've been doing for the last 2.5 odd decades. We have been passing this learning, our validated learning over a period of time. And also, a lot of experience that we have as a company, and I would say combined or collective learning that we have as a group, but to see a lot of businesses which have become successful, a lot of businesses, which have failed, what stage they failed, what are the reasons for their failures. So all that learning is something that we pass on to any company which is looking to franchise or getting into their, journey and thinking of franchising for a long-term perspective. And so that's what we do, friends. So as a company, we are a 27-year-old enterprise. We are present in about 97 cities in India and 10 international markets. We help companies to expand. We help companies to grow and scale, right, in order to create value via franchising. And franchising as an industry, it is also important to understand that it creates, as a tool, I would say, it creates a lot of intelligence synergies as it brings in a lot of combined strength from you as a business owner or a franchisor, and also brings in the strength of a franchisee who collaborate with each other to make the business sustainable, viable, and run for a long period of time. All the successful names that we hold synonymous with franchising, brands like McDonald's, KFCs, all these companies have used very extensively franchising, right from their home countries to all the countries today, their presence is today. And not only that, today, 25% of startups in the country also use franchising to scale their business, either through any kind of distribution or through services. And companies getting into franchising, and especially I would say young companies, they have to create market. And the only way one can grow very fast or scale is franchising. So while we say it is a great way to scale up a business, it allows a company to also expand operations without having to directly fund or invest in these units or outlets. At the same time, minimizing risk and eliminating the need to raise excessive capital. If you look at startup ecosystem and companies, they raise a lot of capital to expand their business. Franchising, on the contrary, is a equity-free and a debt-free capital, which is raised by a lot of companies, but a very responsible form of raising capital. And if you look at India as a country, the cost of capital in India is extremely high, to the extent that many businesses become unviable because they're not able to survive the cost of the capital. With the interest, your runway, your operating expenses, it becomes very difficult and the businesses become very, very tight to be survived. So before a company decides to get into franchising its business, it is very crucial to ensure that a well-prepared, and it also needs to have the relevant, or I would say, the necessary foundation to get into franchising. So if you want to scale, you have to create capacities to scale, else your business would never be viable. So when I say you have to have capacities to scale, which means that you need to have a model which can be repeated, consistently, without, and it can be idiot proofed. So which means the way that you operate your business, the same way it can be operated in your city, outside the city, the same state or a different state, or even for that matter in a different country. And that's how all the global businesses have expanded over a period of time. You get the same experience going to any McDonald's across the world. So to create this consistent and repeatable business model, the foundation is the construction of the business model, keeping in mind sustainability, which means while we construct a model on one side, but we also as business owners have to be responsible enough to ensure that this model sustains over a period of time and brings in value proposition for the franchisor, which is you, for the partner, which is your franchise partner, and equally important is the customer for which the overall business has been created. And maybe sharing our capabilities also as a company. I talked about 3 different group companies, which is Franchise India. Franchise India is the parent company. FranCorp is a company which is a company based out of America, and Franchise India acquired the rights of FranCorp in India about 18 years back. So FranCorp is a consulting arm, and FranCorp is also the largest franchise consulting company in the world. While Franchise India has been in the business for about 27 odd years, FranCorp comes with 47 years of legacy. And FranCorp US has also consulted companies like McDonald's, companies like Hilton hotels, companies like KFC's, companies like Hershey back in US. So this is a company from US, and this is in fact a company which has pioneered the franchise consulting industry, started in 1976. And now the company is present in more than 25 countries across the globe. The second part of our company, which I talked about, is Fran Global, which is the international arm. So all our business outside India is under the umbrella of Fran Global, which works with companies to bring them to Indian market. A lot of Indian brands also we export to international markets, and also a lot of cross-border business with these companies who perhaps would want to go to any of the 10 countries we are present. We have our offices in Middle East, we have office in Nepal, we have office in Canada, we are there in Brazil, we are there in Singapore, Malaysia, we're there in UK. So if you look at our presence across these 10 larger countries, we have a presence in all these locations. So any company which wants to be present or wants to grow outside their home country, they would also use the services of Fran Global. Now, over the span of the last 27 years, and specifically the 18 years of FranCorp in India, we had the privilege of working with nearly 20,000 companies. And these 20,000 companies came across all spectrums, of industry. When I say all spectrums of industry, it includes a lot of food businesses that we have helped grow, a lot of healthcare businesses, including hospitals, pharmacies, preventive care, retail businesses, fashion retail, specialty retail, services like laundry services, and also industries which includes auto. So entire spectrum of industries is what FranCorp has worked, and this is not limited to specific cities in India, but this has been across the length and breadth of the company of the country. And above all, I would also like to say, while FranCorp has worked with some of the top blue chip companies and corporates in India, which includes the like of the Tata Group, it includes the like of Adani's, it includes Reliance. And when I talk about these corporates, it includes a lot of their businesses, right? These are big corporates in India, and they have multiple businesses. And we had the privilege of working with them across multiple businesses, which these bigger enterprises own. But a bigger strength of FranCorp and Franchise India has been to work with a lot of startups, right? So 60% of my entire portfolio of business at any given point in time would be companies which are planning to get into franchising. They could be at incubation stage. They could be at a stage where they just started with a pilot. They could be a stage where they want to now expand. So that's what, friends, we have been doing. And I'm also happy to share with you that today, Franchise India is the world's largest franchise development and distribution company, through our presence, through our distribution. And And we also realized any company which is looking at growing or expanding typically would need capabilities which are threefold. One is, if you want to expand, you should know what is the model for you to expand. Sustainable business model. That's the first capability any company needs. And once that business model is created, you go out in the market and you reach out to potential partners who you can partner with and expand your footprint. And third is, you need to have a distribution as a company so that you are able to capture the impact of marketing which is being created. A lot of these bigger companies or even startups I talked about, they also use our distribution, because today, with our presence in 97 cities and maybe 10 international markets, they know today any inquiry which comes for their brand from any city in the country, Franchise India would have the local teams who would go and meet with these investors, right? So that is the three capabilities any companies need. And over a period of these 27 years, Franchise India and our group companies actually, worked very hard to create these capabilities all in-house. There is nothing that we do which is outsourced, from our media business to our consulting business to our business of franchise recruitment. All that is business that we currently do is all in-house. All the capabilities is in-house. And all the group companies of Franchise India address this need through our solutions, which are given through specialized business entities. So I'll start with giving you an introduction to also our company called Franchise India Media Business. And that is what we started back in 1999. So media would mean that we run the largest media company in the country. Now, this media gives exposures through larger franchise exhibitions that we do every month. All exhibitions and events put together, we do about 120 franchise expos in 1 year. And there are 19 countries that we have a franchise event that we are doing in the year 2024, where we've already done Bangladesh. We have already done Abu Dhabi. We have done Dubai. We are coming up with Nepal, which is on 27th of this new financial year, which is April. And subsequently, every month, about 3 countries, we are coming up with franchise exhibitions. So a very large exhibition that gives an interface to potential companies who want to expand. And these exhibitions also bring in a lot of business buyers or franchisees who want to invest in these businesses. And we also do that through our 3 leading magazines. We have a magazine called Entrepreneur, which is globally the largest B2B magazine in the world. It is an American company. Franchise India has rights for entire Asia. Right? And Entrepreneur, if you look at all these names like McDonald's, Subway, we've been talking about these companies, go on their websites. All these companies every year are ranked by Entrepreneur. So you can see the top 100 ranking done by Entrepreneur, where you would see the top companies in the world, all their ranking done by Entrepreneur. So we hold the rights for India, entire Asia. And other 2 publications include Franchising World and Retailer. These are the 2 other publications of Franchise India, where we have a readership, both physical as well as digital, which people can have an access to. And then comes the website of Franchise India, which is franchiseindia.com. When you go on the website, even if you Google anything on franchising, the top searches that Google would give you would land you on the website of Franchise India. It has more than 18,000 companies which have been listed on the website, and nearly, I would say, 1 million investors, business buyers spend average 23 minutes when they reach the website of Franchise India. So that's the ecosystem that we created in order to bring people who want to buy business and people who wanted to sell their franchisees together on a platform. Our second platform is a scale platform, which is used by companies like you, where we work with companies to make them franchise ready. So we work with you to create your business models and subsequently help you expand in the markets, which could be your city, which could be the state, which would be the entire pan-India market or overseas market. And finally comes our investment platform. And this platform is used very aggressively by investors. Now, these investors are people who want to buy a business. And these can be small time investments, say 10 to 15 odd lakhs. These can be HNIs who want to acquire maybe an area franchisee or a master franchisee. We also work with investors for their family offices, where they have interest in taking some equity in business or acquiring some businesses. So all that is done through our investment platform. And finally is our exit platform, which is also used by a lot of companies if they want to exit their current business for reasons which could be succession issue. They don't have anybody to take over the business. It could be capital issues, because over a period of time, companies also need capital to sustain. So irrespective of the reason, we work with these companies to create valuation for them, create their information memorandums, and then go to potential partners who could be pure financial investors or could be strategic partners who have interest in acquiring similar businesses. So these are broadly, friends, of 4 platforms through which our company works. So our proposition of scale up is largely for companies who want to look at franchising, because we believe that building a successful company is not just about growth, right? It is about scale. And growing and scaling sometimes is used as a substitute, but these are two different words, and it has a completely different meaning, right? So as a company, you need to ensure that you have capabilities to scale your business. If you look at all the companies today which are getting invested, investors like companies which can scale, because your go to market is very fast. You multiply faster, or I would say you can scale very fast. If you look at companies who have capacities to scale, they're better return on the capital for the investors. And third, it also brings in a lot of sustainable profit margins because of the economies of scale such businesses bring to the table. So friends, we'll talk about what we have to offer. I'll give it back to Ashok to run you through a small presentation. And if you can also share about your specific businesses that you're in, we would be happy to read that out. Okay. So guys, I'll request, because none of you have shared your, I see some comments, but I'll request if you can also share your businesses, what city you come from, what brand you represent, and if you're already into franchising, if you can answer these questions while we present you. And I'll request Ashok if we can put our presentation on the screen.
Yeah, so thank you, Sonia ma'am, just for briefing. So before starting the formal presentation, I think I would like to discuss some of the industry dynamics, right? So today, if you look at the overall global franchise industry, it's a $4.7 trillion franchise industry worldwide. And if you look at the two different markets, one is your US market. So US total economy is $25 trillion. And out of that $25 trillion, $2.5 trillion means 10% of the US economy is driven by franchise industry. So US is for 10% of the economy through franchise industry. So that is the largest market. Now, as you compare with India, because India has a vision to achieve $10 trillion economy, and currently we are basically at 4% of the total economy as far as our franchise industry concerned, right? But India has a very upside. If you look at the global dynamics and geopolitical realignments in today's time, because different economies like US market is down. If you look at the Asian market, Russia, Ukraine, so again, there's a lot of political issues there. US is disturbed. Even if you look at the Middle East, due to this Palestine and Israel, Middle East is disturbed. So the world looking at Indian market, and that's the basically whole world is looking at India as a sustainable platform going forward. Now, as far as to achieve $10 trillion economy in India, it's a huge task. Currently, we are at 3.7 trillion, right? But to achieve this 10 trillion economy, it is not going to come from thin air. It is not going to come from your foreign direct investment or through the government investments. The major portion of this is going to come from public-private participation. So that is the largest chunk of economy, and your franchise industry is going to be focused on. Now, so in India, basically the franchise industry is going to attract around $700 billion investment in the next few years. It may take like 5-7 years. So $700 billion kind of investment is being attracted through these franchisee partners. So this is, I think, timing is very, very important and very right for the brands and for the companies who target their basically scale up, utilizing franchising as a tool to scale their businesses. Right. So now I'll share my screen and we will run through the presentation. So what is the preparedness and readiness that we require to scale up your business through franchising? Yeah, so as we discussed, like Francop is the consulting arm of Franchise India Group, and we do strategy consulting advisory, developing your strategies. So strategy is considered to the heart of your business. So if your franchisee is not correct, your strategy is not correct, that means basically there are so many things may go wrong, right? So to develop that concrete strategy is the foundation of any business to scale up. We do financial advisory. So in financials, we do basically develop sustainable financial models. We do legal advisories. We develop basically marketing communication strategies, and we work with the clients to standardize their operating manuals. So I'll share my personal experience because I've been working with Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am for so many years, and I have traveled across the geographies in like at many countries. And I have also looked at the other consulting firms who like provide this kind of consulting services and advisory in franchise space. So I'm confident that what we are doing and delivering is no comparison. So our standards are beyond industry and beyond competition. So that kind of capability and credibility that we bring in our services, and that's how we claim we are the world's largest consulting firm. So we deliver quality, we deliver good value contribution to our brands and clients that we service. Right. Now we'll talk about basically why you should consider a franchising and what is the things that you need to think about these points. Right. So before like taking up these questions, I will recommend basically the three primary parameters to focus and consider your franchisee as a tool to scale your business. Once Sonia ma'am has already explained you like if you require capital. So if you have capital constraint, basically the franchisee is the right platform to raise capital because it brings you a risk-free capital, and the cost of capital is almost nil. Right. Second one is the operating efficiency. So if you have basically the resource constraint in your business, then franchisee is the right platform or the tool which brings the operational efficiencies for your business. And third one is economy of scale. So no matter how much capital you can put in the business, franchisee route can give you better scale up basically across the geographies. You can take an example of any OEM, automobile company, or petroleum companies like your IOCL. They do franchise their business model. If you look at their petrol stations, so they follow three methods. So one is your company owned, company operated outlets. That's Coco. The same that brands do, right? And second format is basically your company owned, dealer operated model, where we in franchising it's company owned and franchisee operated models. They do dealer owned, dealer operated model, which are basically equivalent to your franchisee owned and franchisee operated models. Right? These automotive companies and petroleum companies, they don't have any basically the capital constraint, but they want to bring operational efficiencies. So they prefer to franchise their businesses. Right. So now we'll take up these questions. Basically, what is the right time to franchise your business model? So there are the few questions that you need to ask them. That is number one. If you look at the demand of your product, right? So if you are a product business or you are a service business, if you have higher demand and you are not able to service that demand, definitely you should think about franchising. So through the franchise route, you can scale up your business and service that demand, right? And demand always has the two components. One is your current demand. So that is the consumer shift. So how you can basically attack that market. And second component of the demand is basically your increasing demand over time. So these are the two markets that you need to address, right? Second thing, basically, if your competition is doing better than you and you have a better service, better quality, better product, definitely you should utilize franchise tool to scale your business. My third point is basically, again, lacking capital. So if you have basically the capital constraint, of course, you can raise fund to scale your business through franchising. So your franchisee partner, he brings the investment, plus he brings the operational capability to run your business. Right? Now, next point is basically if you have some like innovative product or service, it's called basically market disruptor. Right? So if you have that advantage in your product or in your service, I think it's a very high time, it's very good time to attack, to take franchisee route to scale your business. And last point is basically economy of scale. Yes, because franchisee is the only way which can give you the faster scale up, faster network development through many channels. So you can have like a master franchisee concept, you can have area master franchisee licenses, you can have multi-unit partners and single unit partners. So there's a whole a range of ways to scale up your business and scale faster to basically capture that market. Right? So these are the few points that you need to have clarity on. But if you think about like, what is the right time to franchise your business, so there is no ideal time. You look at the like world or global innovations, there was nothing achieved in ideal conditions. So whatever is achieved or developed, whatever the basically the innovations happen which have changed the world are basically innovated in tough times, in bad times. So there is a no ideal time, there is a no right time. It is only the time you take decision to take the right decision and execution. Now we'll take some more points on this. So what kind of readiness that you require to franchise your business, right? So we have this 18-point checklist, and which is categorized into 6 segments. First segment is your brand preference and engagement. So in brand preference and engagement, we talk about your credibility. So yes, of course, credibility, it doesn't come from thin air. It requires hard effort. It takes years. It takes decades to establish that credibility in a particular market or in a segment or in a geography. So you can basically encash that credibility once you scale up across other geographies, right? Positive PR and social media marketing. Yes, of course, marketing. If you look at marketing element, marketing is like blood in your body. So it requires basically continuous flow in your business to scale up. Right? And awards and recognitions, again, it gives a significant and very good impact on the investor or franchisee partner to acquire your business. Right? My next segment, we talk about the proven business model, systems, and processes. So a prototype. So if your business prototype is ready, basically, then we can scale up this. We can replicate the prototype at multiple locations at a faster scale. But just creating a prototype is not good enough. You should have your uh, operating procedures in place. So by managing day-to-day operations manually, you need to standardize your business processes and make it as a system-driven company, right? So you need to switch from basically resource-driven or manpower-driven company to the system-driven companies. You can take an example of like McDonald's or Subway. They are system-driven organizations. So you go to any McDonald's, you go to any Subway outlet, your operating procedures are standard. So you will experience the same standard, same quality, where you don't need to sit there. So this is systematic standardization of your operating procedures will move you up from in the business to the on the business, right? And a strong vendor relationship, of course, because for the entire supply chain, uh, the network of your product supplies or service supplies has to keep the entire supply chain intact. Now we will talk about the financial performance and margins. So of course, because if somebody is investing on your business, that means you are promising him he will make money on your business. So you need to evaluate in your business, do you have a better margins, higher margins that you can pass to your franchisee partners. It's in the initial phase. As a brand, it's your responsibility to make your franchise successful, and then you will be successful automatically. Okay. So you should have like higher margins, because if you look at my operating expenses, so where my franchisee is going to set up an outlet or a center or a clinic, so maximum your cost is to the franchisee, right? So you should have enough profits and enough margins for your franchisee partner, so he can afford your business at the basically initial period of the development. Okay. Capitalization again. So companies and brands, they should invest on their capability development. You may have some funds or capital to scale your business. So just putting that capital for scale up is better to put that investment into the resource development, into the capability development, and standardize your businesses, and that will give you the faster scale up going forward. Right? Now, my next segment is the management and leadership team. So if you talk about the leadership, because it's always doesn't matter how superior, how better product or price you develop. Ultimately, it's an entrepreneur to entrepreneurship model, right? So one entrepreneur is investing on another entrepreneur. So it's basically people invest on people. So founder story and management team and their background, their journey plays a very significant role acquiring your franchisee partner. Right. So the organizational design again, that is the key to map the basically accountability for each stakeholder. Right. My next segment is competition and market trend. So yes, of course, competition, we need to carefully evaluate competition. So for any business, once you start, even as a scale like small startup or as a large organization, we always need to review basically 5 drivers for the industry. One is your demand. So demand that we need to study or to forecast 5 years of demand. Basically, you should study 10 years of the history, including the competition. Second one is your supply. So we need to evaluate the supply. So who are the key players who provide your similar kind of services or supply similar products in the market? So what is the supply? We need to evaluate the demand supply gap carefully. Third thing is the basically industry trend. So how industry has evolved historically and how it's going to look like in the next in medium terms and long terms. Okay. And that's how you're going to evaluate the competition and market trends. Okay. My next segment is product and service. So innovation and R&D. Yes, to stay in the market, to stay in the competition, it's you have to like put your efforts more on product and service quality rather than expanding your business. So for to expand your business, you can acquire franchisee network, franchisee tool to scale your business. But to fuel that entire business, you should focus on the innovations and R&D. Differentiation in terms of offering to the customer or offering to the my franchisee partner is basically price and experience. So quality, price, and experience. So your end customer experience, you want to keep it at a higher standard, so you don't dilute your standards. If you look at the today's market trends and audience, So they are more brand focused audience, and they stay with the business, stay with the brands for longer term because they are getting same experience, same quality, better product, better price. So that is the next point is basically change cycle. So if you look at the whole dynamics, so everything changes with time. Your fashion, technology, everything changes with time. So you should be future change ready, right? So you can take an example of this Kodak that used to manufacture camera reels, right? But Kodak has never updated. They have never spent money on innovations and product development. And now you can see this market is gone. There is no further business for them. At the same time, digital technologies came into the market and they have replaced all camera businesses. Right? Similarly, you can talk about your like T series. They used to manufacture these tapes, no longer required because technology has changed. Right? So you should be focusing on the future challenges, future demands, future dynamics, and how you are going to be future ready for your business. Now, for these checkpoints, so what Frankop does basically, Frankop entire team works with you on these parameters. You may be superior in one category. You may have everything that we are discussing here on this slide, but it is all over the place. So you can't see that value in just only in one frame. So what Frankop does, Frankop creates basically a jigsaw puzzle. He takes basically these small pieces and piece it together to create an entire picture so that you can see through. Now we'll talk about basically 4 pillars of franchising. Uh, so innovation and performance. So these are the 4 segments. One segment we call it like PAS. So predictability, accountability, standardization, and scalability. So I think some of these elements we have already discussed. But we'll talk some more about this. So predictability as a financial performance that can be measured. So if you know the microeconomics of your business, you can create basically the measurable financial projections. Right? Similarly, accountability. So accountability is very important for your each stakeholder, even as your uh, business partner, or you can say it's the board of director, or it can be your employee, it can be your franchisee partner, it can be your investor, even including your consumer. Your end customer is the primary stakeholder of your business because he is going to give you continuous business for you. So basically, you should have the accountability for everything in your business. That's clearly defined. Okay. Standardization, as we talked about, if you have basically uniform standards which can deliver uniform experience. So, and there basically the Frankop team, their capabilities comes in to define these elements. And scalability, yes, of course, you should understand the total addressable market and basically what market share that you want to capture over a period of time. So you should have a very absolute clarity in terms of your target markets, where you want to see yourself in short term, medium term, and long term. Right? My next pillar is, we call it like control, compliance, and consumer connect. So, because if you are appointing a franchisee partner, you are handing over your business to others to make money on that business, right? So the how you are going to retain or maintain that superior control on your business. So where our team of legal experts, they work with you to give you 360-degree protection of your brand, right? So that control can be done or managed through the technology applications or through the legal obligations. So that can be addressed. Once we talk about the compliances, So if you look at the geographies, like if you're talking about the multinationals, so each nation, they have different legalities, different structure, different governance, right? So you may face like a lot of difficulties in bringing these legal obligations and compliances as far as different geography concerns. So where franchisee that brings that capability, so they can fulfill the local compliances to manage your business. My next point is basically the consumer connect. So yes, last mile consumer connect, and to maintain and provide consistent experience to your franchisee is the key. My next pillar we are talking about is called AIR. So attractiveness, investor readiness, and his basically risk hedging. Right? So attractiveness, because if you look at, we talked about like Franchise India, we have done advise basically more than 20,000 brands. That means 20,000 opportunities are available in the market. And if you look at the alternate investments, so there is other markets like invest in properties, invest in the stock market, invest in mutual funds. So many other sorry, other alternate options. So how you make your opportunity much more attractive, so it can attract investment. Sorry, right? And then second thing, basically investor readiness. So are you ready to franchise your business to attract that investment or raise that investment through franchising? So you should have absolute plan for your short-term and long-term performances. And third thing is the risk hedging, because you are in the business for so many years or so like for decades or generations, you know in and out in your business, right? So you know all the challenges. So once you offer a franchisee plan, or you want to basically scale up your business, so you need to minimize the risks. You need to control the damages for the franchisees. I'm sorry. So risk hedging is very, very important, especially for the initial development phase. Risk hedging, if you look at the risk hedging here, it works vice versa. So as you compare, look, consider like during the pandemic, right? Whole world has suffered, right? So many companies have been shut down, right? And during this time, a lot of players basically they have closed their businesses and they are not able to recover because they were company funded. So they were not able to pay the salaries to their staff. They were not able to pay the other operating expenses on time. So they collapsed. Where the franchisee players, the companies who were like doing their businesses through franchisee route, so each individual franchisee has managed their individual P&L. So the retention of franchisees network were higher during that pandemic time. Now, my next pillar we talk about encourage, recognize, and reward. Right. So you should basically create benchmark fair practices to encourage performances. Right. And you need to recognize the effort of your franchisee teams, your employees, or any stakeholder. So you should have your monthly, quarterly, half yearly, or yearly targets and achievements. Okay. And create that benchmark, create that competition for your franchisee partners. So it creates the motivation for the franchisees to do the better business. And rewards, yes, annual rewards for exceptional performance that you should entertain. in your franchise model, right? So again, I would say, along with these 4 pillars, our team works with you. So basically, you may have everything in place, but how to position that, take everything, have a closer look at it, and how basically we can represent to the investor. So there again, our capabilities and our team's capabilities uh, comes in uh, to create a unique value proposition for your franchisees. Right? Now we'll talk about some of these elements, the kind of services that we provide. So here, of course, one side is Franco. So we does consulting and advisory on your strategy, financial, SOPs, legal, your brand communication, PR strategy. Other side of it, for this business, you are ready with your franchise model, tools, and capabilities. And the side, you recruit franchising partners, right? So there's Franchise India, where we Franchise India team, they do your lead generation, right? So lead generation, so they do their marketing through social media, email marketing, digital marketing. We have like web listing, a lot of set of services. Plus, we also do like 200 events every year to generate leads, promote your brand, and then we appoint key account managers from respective regions to work on these leads, to do the initial filtration, qualify them, and bring right partner for you, right? So as your strategy concerns, you require basically the concrete strategies to scale your business. And the side, you require solid pillars, solid franchisee partners to be a part of your business. Right? So where our teams work with you to appoint these franchisees, and we have a strict selection criteria where we check operational capability of the franchisee. We consider the marketing capabilities of the franchisee. We look at the financial fit of the franchisee. Does he has the enough capability to sustain initial ignition period? And we look at the overall strategic fit for your business, for your brand. So where we evaluate their past experience, their qualifications, and then we recruit these franchisee partners for our clients. Right. So what we have done here, so entire set of services, if you look at from the beginning of like franchisee concept design, development, strategy, financial modeling, your SOP design, standardization of your operating manuals. So we have packaged into 4 primary products. Apart from these 4 primary products, we also have the associated services. So for those services, you can connect with our team, with Ram or Isa, to have more detailed discussion about these services. So I'll give just a little brief on these 4 set of products. So Frank Start, it has a basically limited commitment and limited scope. So this is the engagement for 1 year, and where we deliver a committed set of franchisees. Frank Grow, again, is the program for a larger commitment. It's again valid for 12 months, and where we have a rollout target of at least 10 franchisees in a year. We do like 4 webinars, exclusive webinar for Frank Grow partners, and we also represent them in our mega franchise meet roadshows for 12 months. And we give them basically the presence in our FIBL pavilions in the large events that we do. We will give them our web listing on our platform, right? For Frank Excel, this is for the larger companies, larger partners who want to scale up their businesses through multiple geographies. So where we have a committed rollout plan, and this service tenure is 2 years. And Frank Max is the maximum rollout plan, where we provide basically the services for 3 years to create the entire network for you. And we also give them presence in terms of your franchise world magazine. We also cover your story, founder story on on the Franchise World magazine. Right. So for more details and commercials, you can reach out to Ram and Isa to have more detailed discussions on these. And we will be happy to connect with your chairman and managing director for one-to-one meeting. Right. So that's again a brief background. So like if you look at the Franchise India Group, it's a 27-year-old organization. They have serviced more than 20,000 brands across multiple geographies. And if you look at the Indian markets, 90% of the Indian market is developed by Franchise India. We have like a presence in India across 97 cities. So we bring the capability of local language and local operating efficiencies. If you look at the interface, we have a direct interface with more than 1 million investors, and we have a team of 1,500 professionals across the globe. And plus, we have our international presence in 10 countries. Right. So I look forward for your contribution. Right. So now I would like to thank everyone on this webinar. And plus, for your queries, my team will reach out to you. They will connect with you to conduct meetings with our chairman or managing director. Right. So before like closing this webinar, I would say if you have a business or you have a brand which is basically ready to take off, right? I'll repeat again. So if your business or your brand is ready to take off, then Franchise India and FrankOp is the right platform to make it fly. So with this, I will end this presentation and over to Ram for your concluding remarks. Please share your email ID and phone numbers in the chat.
Thank you, Shukji. Thank you so much for the description of FIHL. It was a much needed for this webinar. And thanks everyone, whoever has joined us. We'll surely get back to you with our calls, and we'll surely get to see more contribution towards. Thank you. Thank you, Shukji.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.